Hello, welcome to Chapter 4 of our Express course for CIMA E2 Enterprise Management. Just to remind you, if you need a copy of these express notes that go with this course, then they are available to download free of charge from our website www.theexpgroup.com. This chapter is talking all about project management tools. Now let's get started. First thing to have a look at is the WBS, Work Breakdown Structure. So what is a work breakdown structure? Well, it's a tool which is used to break down and organize the total work of the project into individual discrete components. So it breaks it down. It breaks the work down. We've got on page 22 an extract of an example of a WBS for a company that's looking on entering a new market. So the big picture project is the company is planning on entering a new market. Well, we've broken that down into various components. Team 1, marketing. Team 2, logistics. Team 3, legal. We then break that down further by talking about ideas within Team 1. Marketing plan within Team 1. Team 2's logistics, local distributors, transport mechanism, and then within Team 3 legal we break it down further to local requirements and accounting. The next component is key knowledge, network diagrams, critical path analysis. Now, a critical path analysis, really there's a lot of clues in the name because it's an analysis of the critical path. So as we say here, it formally identifies tasks which must be completed on time for the whole project to be completed on time. So in other words, it identifies individual activities within a project, the order in which the activities have to be undertaken, and as a result of that, activities which can only happen once other activities have been completed. And it will also then be able to identify activities which can be undertaken simultaneously. Bit of terminology to make sure you're aware of. An activity is identified by straight arrow. Critical path is identified by an arrow with a double line through it. And the activities start and finish within what is known as a node. And the node identifier is on the left hand side, earliest event time, top right, latest event time, bottom right. Okay, page 23 of the notes. We've got Pert, Project Evaluation and Review Technique. Now, as we say here, Pert often used together with critical path analysis, but the Pert Project Evaluation Review Technique is aiming to deal with various uncertainty over times taken, and each task within the project is allocated a time. Optimistic time, so the good news time, pessimistic, the bad news, the maximum possible time, and the most likely time. And then taking all of these together, we get what is known as an expected time. So the expected time that each task will take is the best estimate of the time required to accomplish a task. Okay. Right, let's move on to a Gantt chart. Gantt chart is probably one of the better known project management tools. So a Gantt chart graphically shows the planned project activity against time. So page 24, we have a nice relatively simple Gantt chart, and this identifies the budgeted time allocated to each task. So task A, for example, the budgeted time looks as though it is around about 9 days, and then we have the actual undertaken, which is in the grey. So activity A in this example took the same time as the budgeted one. If you look at activity B though, well, the budgeted, the anticipated, was actually more than the actual, or in other words, the actual was less than the budgeted, less than the anticipated. So we're ahead of schedule. And all that a Gantt chart does is identify the order of the various activities and enables us to track actual versus budget times. We've got what is known as milestones and control gates. So milestones are key points which are identifiable, key points within a project which are identifiable. And control gates, as we said here, are in effect important milestones where project owners identify whether to continue with the project. So it's like a gate. We keep the gate open, or stop or terminate the project. We close the gate. So control gates are various milestones which we treat as a gate. Do we continue with the project with the gate open, or do we close the gate and terminate the project? Okay, we're now going to have a look at earned value management. Earned value management, EVM. So EVM can provide an early warning of performance problems, and what we'll see on the table or the graph on the next page. But first of all, a few definitions. Plan value is evaluation of planned work, actual costs incurred, but the earned value is quantifying the work that has been accomplished during the period. So we've got planned value, actual value, and earned value. Page 25, diagram of this. So what we're saying here, at T1, at time equals 1, the actual in cost incurred, this amount here, the actual cost incurred is greater than the planned value. Costs are greater. Now, this could indicate potential problems, but we've identified the earned value. And because earned value is greater than actual cost and planned values, then this is not too much of a problem. Okay. Key knowledge, Prince 2, projects in controlled environments. Now, this is a well-known model, almost a sort of competitor to PMBOK, you could argue. And this is developed by the UK government for managing IT projects. And as we say here, Prince aims at delivering the right products on time and within budget. And there's 7 principles. 7 principles of Prince 2. What's the business justification? What are the learning lessons? Roles and responsibilities, managing by stages, managing by exception, product focused and tailored. Okay, the next page we talk a bit about one of the Prince 2 terms, a project initiation document. So a project initiation document is a document which, surprisingly enough, is drawn up at the project initiation stage, and it identifies all of the key information that is needed to start and to run the projects. Typical, so these aren't sort of cast in stone, these are typical contents of a project initiation document. Include what are the objectives of the project, what's the scope of the project, who are the team members, business case and constraints. So project initiation document, you can also almost use an element of common sense here. It identifies what we need to know at the start of the project. Just to finish off this chapter, at the bottom of page 26, I'm going to look at stakeholder hierarchy, and the final page of this chapter identifies a hierarchy of stakeholders within a project. So we have a project sponsor. So somebody would sponsor that project, makes the investment decision and provides the resources. the cash resources, for example, within an organization that are needed to undertake that project. We then have a project owner, somebody whose focus is on the end result being achieved. We then have the end user of the project, known as a project customer. Project manager, this is probably one of the key ones, if not the key one, within any successful implementation of a project, a successful project manager. And he or she is responsible for achieving the project output. And then we'll have various team members of the project. Now, all of these make up the stakeholder hierarchy for projects. Okay, that finishes chapter 4, so thank you very much for listening to this video.